this time I will teach you about the inverse of trigonometric function. So first, we need to know the properties of inverse functions. So number one, a function must be one-to-one in order to have an inverse function. So if the function is not one-to-one, so it having an inverse function. So number two, the graph of an inverse function is the reflection of the original function about the line y equal to x. And number three, if x, y is a point on the graph of the original function, then x and yx is a point on the graph of the inverse function. Then the last, number four, the domain and the range of a function and its inverse are interchanged. So if we have xy and then our inverse is yx. So example, the graph of an inverse function is the reflections of the original functions about the line y is equal to x. Note the symmetry of the graphs of cosine x and arccos x about the line y equal to x. So based on the graph, so we have y is equal to cosine inverse. So this is our inverse function. So our original function is y is equal to cos x. So based on the graph, our inverse functions is based on the graph, our inverse functions was lying in the y-axis. The original function, our cosecant x, is lying in the x-axis. So if the inverse of y is equal to x, then x is equal to y. If xy is a point on the graph of the original function, then yx is the point of the graph of the inverse function. So if we have pi over 3 and 1/2 is the point of the graph of y is equal to cosine x. So cosine pi over 3 is equal to 1/2, so it will become 1/2 and pi over 3. So the inverse of pi over 3 and 1/2, so 1/2 and pi over 3. So our cos x now is 1/2 is equal to pi over 3. In general, if the r cos x is equal to y, then x is equal to cos y. Then cosine inverse x is equal to y implies cosine y is equal to x. So the domain and the range of function and its inverse are interchanged. So if the domain of the cosine x, which is x is greater than or equal to negative or equal to 0 but less than or equal to pi. So the domain of the arccos x is greater than or equal to -1 but less than or equal to 1. And then the range, so it will interchange. So the range of the cosine x is y is equal y is greater than or equal to -1 but less than or equal to 1, and our the range of the cos x is or cosine inverse is y is greater than or equal to 0 but less than or equal to pi. So that's all. Thank you.